Hello everyone and welcome to Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia in the United States of America. I'm your host Rich Hagan, sitting alongside the Pro Tour historian Mr. Brian David Marshall, and from inside R&D, Ian Duke. Together with a cast of hundreds of the best players in the world, we will be with you for the next 3 days live as this amazing Pro Tour unfolds. So first things first, gents, BDM, give me one thing that you're looking forward to more than anything else.
It's John Finkel in the Pantheon. 20 years ago, John Finkel played in the very first Pro Tour. He made the top 8 of that event. 19 3/4 years later, he made the top 8 of the last Pro Tour we were at. What's he going to do, as we go into his 21st year of Magic with one of the great super teams in Magic as wind in his sails?
All right, Ian, from an R&D perspective, what are you most looking forward to?
Two awesome things. Oath of the Gatewatch. It was my very first standard legal set that I led, so I'm really curious to see how the set does out in the wild there and what players are making of it. And then beyond that, it's Modern Weekend here at the Pro Tour. Always an exciting time of year, our Modern Pro Tour. Huge diversity of decks, eager to see them battle it out and see what comes out on top.
All right, now, of course, we have many thousands of you coming to coverage for the first time here at each new Pro Tour. Thanks for being part of our Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch weekend. Let's walk you through what you can expect over the next 3 days. So, BDM, walk us through it. Plenty going on. Where do we start on Friday?
We start with draft. We're going to open an Oath of the Gatewatch pack. That's the first thing we're going to see. You got to be pretty excited, Ian. The first thing we see on camera in terms of Magic action is going to be some accomplished player opening a pack of Oath of the Gatewatch. It's going to be Oath of the Gatewatch Battle for Zendikar. This is a big departure for the draft formats where we're going to open 2 packs of the small set, 1 pack of the big set, and we're going to do 3 rounds of that. From there, we unveil the new face of Modern. Right after 3 rounds, the players start to play their Modern decks. Splinter Twin's gone. Summer Bloom is gone. And now, what does that leave? And there's a lot of cards in Oath of the Gatewatch that could be meaningful and have already been meaningful contributors to Modern.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of talk about the Eldrazi deck, or decks, as it were. So eager to see how those play out.
Yeah. Now, Saturday, the same as today, except we cull some of the field. You have to get to 4 wins, and that then brings you back to day 2. Saturday is the same as today, 3 rounds of draft, 5 rounds of Modern, and then Sunday is a little bit different than we've been used to, BDM. Walk us through Sunday.
So we're going to bring back the top 8 players in the standings to play their Modern decks on Sunday, and what's going to be a little different here is the last stretch of Pro Tours. Actually, we've done best 2 of 3 in the top 8. We are going to be returning to the format of best 3 of 5 for the top 8, which means players are going to play 4 sideboarded games. Sideboards really come into play there. And we're going to start 2 quarterfinals simultaneously. We're going to try to show you as much of both of those matches as possible, try to show you every deciding game of every match.
Right.
And then quarterfinals 3 and 4 will start. Then we'll show you semifinal 1, then semifinal 2, and then the finals. It's going to be a lot of Magic, a lot of Modern.
And Ian, sideboarding, therefore, once we hit Sunday in particular, is going to be huge. But even in the Swiss rounds, Modern is a format that has so many cards from so many sets. We're up to 50 sets now. There are some cards lurking in the undergrowth that really, really punish you.
Yeah, Modern is characterized by a diversity of really powerful decks, and sideboard cards are often what does it in terms of stopping these really, really powerful linear strategies. So we'll see those play out for sure.
All right, so let's look then, Ian, at the scoring system. It's super straightforward. Let's put it up on screen for you, everyone at home. This is how it works.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Rich, Friday and Saturday, each 8 rounds of tournament play. Each round consists of a best 2 out of 3 matches between 2 players. Winning that match, that is best 2 out of 3 games, earns you 3 points. A draw would be 1 point, and a loss is no points for that player.
And you can't play against someone twice in the constructed rounds, but of course, BDM, you could end up sitting at the same draft pod. And you should actually explain to people just what is this idea of the pod? How does that work?
So right now, the players are broken up into 8-player subgroups of the tournament. Those 8 players will sit down and draft, and then they'll only play within their pod.
Okay.
What's going to happen on day 2 is players ranked 1 through 8 will be in the first draft pod on day 2, players 9 through 16, etc. And it's record-based. So you could have played someone in that first draft pod. One of you ends up first, one of you ends up 8th, and you could play each other again in that second draft pod.
All right. plenty at stake here. Magic history, trophies, points. Walk us through it, BDM.
Well, really the big thing is $40,000, 30 pro points for the winner, platinum status, and an invite to the World Championship. So it's winning the Pro Tour just keeps getting huger and huger over the 20 years of this event, right? It just means so much. Second place, $20,000. 9th through 16th is $5,000. So there's money down to 75th place where you're getting $1,000.
But also, once you get down to that sort of 51st to 75th range, what becomes super important, Ian, is not so much the money, though the money is very nice, but the fact that at 33 match points, you get to come back and do it all again.
Absolutely, Rich.
Yeah, so that's a massive deal. Now, in terms of how to get here, there are 9 different ways you could have secured a place at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. Ian, walk us through the different ways players out there could be with us here next time.
Love to, Rich. So one of the primary ways to make it to the Pro Tour is to win a regional Pro Tour qualifier. You can play in a preliminary PTQ at your local store. If you win that, you can advance to the regional Pro Tour qualifier, do well enough in that, and you'll make it to the Pro Tour. Beyond that, you can also earn 39 match points or better at a Grand Prix. You can earn, as Rich said, 33 match points or greater at a Pro Tour. That qualifies you for the next one. You could also win a Magic Online Champions Series season finals to make your way to the Pro Tour. You could top 8 your World Magic Cup. Or, as you do well in the Pro Tour at the Grand Prix level, you'll earn Pro Points, which allow you to level up in our Pro Players Club, and that can earn you invitations to more Pro Tours. And if you do well in the Pro Tour for a long period of time, you can eventually make your way into the Hall of Fame, and that'll earn you lifetime status at the Pro Tour.
Now, as the way this sort of balances out, we've got the best part in round figures, 400 players at a typical Pro Tour. And broadly speaking, half the field come out of the Pro Tour qualifier system. Your PPTQ at your local store and around your area, then the regional PTQs, round about half the field is RPTQ winners. And then all those other categories, and they tend to sort of bounce over each other. Say, BDM, you've got a Hall of Famer who's also in the top 25, who also was in the top 25 at Battle for Zendikar, who is also a Platinum Pro. So, you get multiple invites that way.
Right,
but
top 8 at a Grand Prix, et cetera, et cetera. You can see people stack up. Some of the top players stack up 4 or 5 invites. It only is good for one. You can only use them one at a time.
Right. And some players weren't qualified last weekend and then went to Vancouver or Nagoya or Mexico City and managed to leap themselves up to silver. Right. Someone like Eric Severson.
Right, we were watching Matt Costa because he was someone who could have been a member, was going to be able to participate with the Pantheon for this event if he had gone 12-3, but sneaking in behind him was Eric Severson, who gets to play with Team East-West Bowl for this Pro Tour. He qualified by making the top 8 in Vancouver last weekend. I mean, it was so insane. He had like 6 or 7 matches in a row over 3 or 4 events that could have gotten him qualified for this event. And last weekend was the absolute last chance he had to qualify, and he got there. It's a great story.
It absolutely is. Now, we have a ton of great stuff coming your way over the weekend. In addition to the 16 rounds of Swiss, we'll have 4 feature matches just across the way in our feature match area. Every round you'll see that. You'll see 2 drafts, live or recorded, each morning during our draft coverage. You'll see Draft Viewer. For people who haven't seen it, BDM, how awesome a tool is Draft Viewer?
I mean, it's great. If you talk to players who have participated in these draft viewers, they will go back and they'll watch their drafts over and over again. They'll look at the seat next to them. You can see what every single player at a draft table full of players, Hall of Fames, Platinums, all the types of qualifications you mentioned, how they drafted a seat with 7 other players. You can sit in every single seat of the draft. I know you've done this, Rich, on multiple occasions.
Absolutely. Just sit there and go, wow, that came late, 7th, and you learn so much from those. Now, Ian, of course, his day job is inside R&D, and we get to go inside R&D for each new set, which means Ian and all your colleagues working on Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, the new set, we get to really get inside the cards, and it's a great opportunity because we don't all get to chat to you live, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell some of the stories about the behind the scenes, how the cards are made.
We have something also very new and very, very exciting. We've been trying to do this, honestly, for years. And finally, the man with the keys unlocked the door. Tell us about Open House, BDM.
So earlier this week, we got to spend a day with Team Pantheon, We got to go to their playtesting house. It's about 45 minutes from here. And really, they gave us an inside look. We talked to all the players. We got to see them playtesting. And we got to see how they live, 13 gamers in one house for 2 weeks before a Pro Tour. It was fascinating to look at.
Something else we are looking to bring you is Skycam. What's Skycam? Well, out there beyond our studio, we have a camera high in the sky, and we are hoping that at the end of rounds, we're going to be able to take you out onto the floor, and you're going to have the chance to see the last matches of the round. You'll get insight from BDM. But the players are ready for the first draft of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch, and the table is stacked. Jacob Wilson, Dan Musser, Luke Faley, Luis Scott-Vargas, Artur Vilela of Brazil, Shuhei Nakamura, John Finkel, and Galdenis Vidugiris. You couldn't draw it up better. Let's head down for the first live draft of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch.
Hello there, welcome to the booth here in Atlanta. Marshall Sutcliffe with Randy Buehler, and we're both itching and excited to get those first booster packs opened here at Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. I wanted to get you an idea of who it is that we're going to watch draft and who they're going to be sitting next to. Let's take a look at that graphic now so that we can get the table set here, as it were, for
Quite
our
the
first
table.
draft. And it's a doozy here. What do you see here?
I see 3 Hall of Famers.
Just right off the bat. Boom.
3 Hall of Famers, and 3 of the best Hall of Famers, quite frankly. This is 3 of the 10 best players to ever play the game. Luis Scott-Vargas, Shuhei Nakamura, John Finkel, and, Jacob Wilson has been playing great Magic for a couple years now. Go flash forward 10 years, he may be in that crowd, too.
Yeah, and it's, Galdenis Vidugiris here, they're both Pro Tour finalists.
Oh, yeah.
These are no slouches as well. So an absolutely stacked up table here for the first one. Randy, let's head down to the feature match area for draft number 1 here from Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Oath of the Gatewatch. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Buehler, and it's all excitement and chills down there in the feature match area where we are set for our first draft of the tournament. This is, of course, the first time that the players actually get to touch Magic cards for the weekend, and you can see a big smile on Luis Scott-Vargas' face. He's ready to go, and we are good to go for our first draft. We're going to be following along with Luis here the whole way, and let's see what he starts off with. Well, he's got to follow the Titans, so right
Cliffhaven
to the
Vampire
front.
in that pack, too. But he already gestured with the Fall of the Titans. He hasn't even seen the rest of the pack. He already knows that's what he's picking.
Yeah, being friends and podcast partners with Luis, I have a good insight into the way that he's thinking about this format. And I know that Fall of the Titans is a card that there aren't uncommons that he would take over it. So he just knows immediately that that's going to be his first pick.
So barring a foil rare of one of a couple of choices.
Yeah, and interestingly, that was a discussion that was going around the coverage team last night, is what are the rares you would take over Fall of the Titans if you happen to open up a foil one of those? And that's an interesting discussion perhaps for the chat room, but Luis doesn't have to deal with that. He's just going to snap up the Fall of the Titans here.
Now, do you think he's going to be going for Surge specifically at this point, or is it just, I've got a great card, we'll see what happens now?
It'll be a tiebreaker. If the Surge deck is there, he will go for it, but he will not push in that direction unnecessarily. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bonesaw in his final list at this point, but it's probably unlikely.
So, Isolation Zone, there's a Dwar Isle Avenger if he was looking for red-blue specifically. Mm-hmm. The blue-red Surge deck did win 2 of the 3 Grand Prix last weekend.
It did, yeah.
But Isolation Zone is just a better card.
It's just too much better. Yeah, it's just way too higher of a power level. Plus, I will tell you that in Luis's mind, and mine as well, and I think yours too, Randy, red-white is one of the top-tier archetypes. It's in that
totally
top
fair.
tier. And I think that Luis is going to be pretty happy to pick that up here.
Yeah, he went Isolation Zone.
Yeah.
Red, white, and black, white, and maybe green, white, and third are sort of people's tops.
I kind of have it as black, white first, green, white second, red, white third. That's my ranking right now.
I think I have red, white, and green, white the other way around, but we agree on the top 3.
Yeah.
So, the blue-red Surge deck is just a little risky. Now, this Zada's Commando is great for red, white.
Yeah, easy pick for Luis here.
He could have had a second Dwar Isle Avenger, though, if he'd gone that way. It's interesting. like the blue-red Surge deck that could have been, but he's kind of
He could be
passed
3
it
for 3 on
along.
Surge cards already.
He could be. He could have 3 Surge cards in his, and 3 good ones.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, Zada's Commando, very solid little 2-drop for any deck that can cast it. It transitions nicely into the late game, and it's a potent turn 2 play as well. So this is a good start for Luis. He's going to be quite content with these first 3 picks and just kind of hope that the colors hold up for him as he moves forward through this draft.
Ondu War Cleric. And a Commando. He's in the right colors.
He definitely is looking to be in the right colors here.
You do not get past Commando and Ondu War Cleric unless the Red-White Allies deck is open. Now, which of those do you have higher? Is it the Commando?
I have the Commando higher, all things being equal, and I think that Luis is going to take the Commando out of the pack. This also gives him 3 red cards and 1 white card, which does give him a little bit of flexibility. You know, the dream spot to be when you head into pack 2 is heavy in one color with a couple of feelers into other colors and open enough to take a bomb even in a different color. Let's see if that works out for Luis here. There's a Wall of Resurgence. That's solid. Ooh,
Saddleback
wow. Saddleback Legat coming this late is definitely something that is going to catch his eye. You know, Luis and I both think that Saddleback Legat's the best green common.
I'll buy that.
Let's see if he's going to get in
Red-green
the
is
saddle.
not everybody's favorite.
No.
It can be fine. He's going to go Legak.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to see Luis do this. I think he could have taken the Wall of Resurgence or the Aeronaut if he wanted to stay on plan. But I think he views this as a signal. I think he's looking at this like, hey, this card probably shouldn't still be here. Let's explore
another one.
and see if it's in there.
That was another one flashing by, right?
Another Legak?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So this move really pays off for Luis.
Wow.
Getting 2 Saddleback Legaks is great. Wow, nice shift of gears there for Luis, and he's going to be really happy to see that second Legak come through. And like you said, the red-green deck, perhaps maybe a half tier lower. It just doesn't have quite the punch or the late game.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the inherent synergies that some of the others do.
Right. It's like the same deck without
Path
Cohort.
Warden?
Yeah, there's a Path Warden
Yeah,
in
if
there.
Legak's not the best common, I think other people have it at Path Warden.
He's also got a Goblin Free Runner that he's going to consider here,
Interesting.
which is a very solid card when you've already got 2 Zada's Commandos, because the Free Runner, on turn 4 with a friend is very good. I like this pick a lot from Luis. I think that this is one of those ones where it's tempting to stay on the green after you've just back-to-back green cards, but I think this is 100% correct from Luis to take the Free Runner here instead. Oh, Mina and Dead Wildborn. The
Red-green.
payoff.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Oh, man. Luis says, had it planned the whole time. Just going to very calmly, and look at that. That's a look of relief. Like, yep, that Saddleback move was nice. Spark Mage's Gambit there.
Yeah, lead by example's all right, too.
And there's also a lead by example. And
it's 3 cards with the word support on them already.
I'm going to tell you what, Luis definitely thought about taking that foil island for a second, too. He does love himself an island. There's a Maw of Kozilek that he can't realistically cast. He is still going to, cast. He can't realistically activate the ability on, at least currently. But it's possible, and that's certainly the best card in the pack. Canopy Gorger is pretty mediocre.
Elemental Uprising is playable.
Spark Mage's Gambit, a perfectly reasonable pickup. I wouldn't be surprised if he had one of those in his main deck.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. It's kind of one of those either way type cards.
I think that's fair. Does turn on Surge on turn 4, 2 into a 2. There's fair amount of 1 toughness creatures floating around. Oh, Expedite, speaking of cards that turn on Surge.
Yeah. Yes, there are enough targets. One of the things to keep in mind with Spark Mage's Gambit is you don't have to kill 2 things to make that card worth it.
Right.
He's just going to take another one over the Bonds of
Yeah,
Mortality.
I mean, if I kill your 1 toughness creature, that's...
You're
We
great.
traded card for card.
Totally.
Good enough. And he's got all the go through the Gatewatch mechanics in here, doesn't he? He's got some Surge, got some Cohort, got some support.
Wow. That was brilliant. Really nice switch there. Luis reading signals coming from the side and saying,
True.
Saddleback Legak shouldn't be here in the 4th and 5th pick range. I'm going to go ahead and take it over a reasonable white card and speculate. And he immediately got rewarded. So this first pack went very well for Luis. I think he drafted it nicely and, got a little lucky there with the Mina and Den. But, recognizing the green was open was what set him up to get lucky. And it's... getting the Saddleback Legaks, those weren't luck. Those were him reading the table. Yep. So great work from Luis there. And now he just needs to have things hold up for him through the next 2 packs. And he's going to have a really solid deck. Let's see what he opens up for pack 2, pick 1. This is, of course, Oath of the Gatewatch again. We're going to be drafting 2 Oath of the Gatewatch packs, followed by a Battle for Zendikar pack. All right, here he goes. Let's see what he finds. Another Saddleback Lagak. There's also a Netcaster Spider, which he would play in the deck, but he's definitely just going to take the Lagak here. I'll tell you, you want as many of those as you can get, Randy.
Oh, yeah.
Just pile them up.
He has enough support now. Do you think that sort of mediocre 1-drop creatures start to become things you want to play in this
That's
deck?
interesting. You know, there's not that many of them in these colors. They tend to come in white. But yeah, you know, if he is starting to hit that range. He's got 3 Lagaks and a lead by example. Yeah,
Right.
totally.
I mean, we saw the deck that won Grand Prix Nagoya last weekend had Kite Sail Scout in it.
It did. It actually had 3 1-drops.
3 1-drops.
Yeah, had Expedition Envoy in there and a Cliffside Lookout too. So you can definitely play that game. All right, let's see what Luis finds here out of this next pack.
Commando. Is this just
God,
another
this
Commando?
is just perfect. Like if your deck is all Zada's Commandos and Saddleback Lagaks, you're very happy. Because you think a 2/1 first strike's tough to deal with. Try stacking on a couple of counters on the thing. They just become such a pain to interact with in combat. Yeah, another just solid pickup. Now, I'll tell you a card that Luis would love to see here is a Boulder Salvo. He needs to pick up a couple of removal spells that actually get something of reasonable size out of the way. Otherwise, he's going to be leaning on those Spark Mage's Gambits to get him through for a bunch of damage, and that's not where he wants to be.
Spark Mage's Gambit does have the you can't block ability.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It lets you get in, but not in a great way. All right, I think Cinder Hellion was what I saw. What did he pull to the front there?
Oh, Nissa's Judgment? Is that Nissa's Judgment? It is.
Oh, a Nissa's Judgment.
Green's open on his left, too.
Look, Nissa's Judgment is in the discussion for best uncommon.
And he just got it, what, 4th?
Yeah. Look at him. He says, I'm a genius. Figured it out. This has just worked out beautifully for Luis. Again, all hinging on that one Saddleback Lagak pick.
Yeah.
Right? That was the time when he read the table, moved in, and it's really been good for him since. Imagine if he would have taken a white card out of that pack. His deck would be so much worse right now. Another Saddleback, and there's a Boulder Salvo. I think he's going to take the Salvo here.
It's the worst card, but it's just what his deck happens to need.
Yes. And like I said, I think
agree
he
with
was
you.
really looking for a Boulder Salvo anyway, and it's a little unfortunate for him that it happened to come in the same pack with another Saddleback, which
True.
I'm telling you, he would play that one too.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he just needed to take the Salvo here. Wow, things really coming together. And hey, let's not forget his first pick out of the draft, right? Fall of the Titans is still in there too. All right. So he's going to pick up an Eldrazi Aggressor. You know, he is a little light on 3-drops, though. I will say that one's not high on his list. But it shouldn't be an issue. He should be able to find them later.
Yeah, he might randomly decide he needs a 3-mana 2/3 for his curve. There's a chance that winds
What
up
he'd
in
like
his
to
deck.
see is some Ekum Flameseekers. That's the kind of card when you've already got a bunch of other allies that can do really well
Right.
in the late game.
Right.
Also beats down a little better than the Aggressor.
Oh, my
Another
goodness.
Commando?
There's a Path Warden in this pack, too.
Yeah, I think he still just takes the Commando. He may look
He's
to
got
curve,
a lot of
but
Commandos and no top end on his curve. I don't think Path Warden's crazy here.
I think you're probably right. It's not crazy, but I would actually just still take the Commando. With all these Lagaks, I think you just want as many Commandos as you can get.
And that's what Luis has decided to do.
I agree, though. I agree that you take a look at the 5-drop and say, is this do I want something a little beefier? But I'll tell you what, those Commandos are going to be the same size by the time turn 5 comes around anyway.
Interesting.
Pulse of Marasa. And yeah, you could take a Concordant Crossroads or yet another Spark Mage's Gambit. So not really much for him here. Sure. I think this is, Luis hedging a little bit here because he doesn't have a ton of removal. Remember the Boulder Salvo pick and the Fall of the Titans. But, he is going to need a backup plan in case the removal suite doesn't come together for him in the Battle for Zendikar pack or the rest of this one. Really? Get
Is he-
in the saddle, buddy.
Is he the green mage at this table?
I'm starting to wonder. So there's two things that could happen here, and one is much more likely. The more likely thing is what you said, which is that he's the person drafting green, because this is just absurd now.
Yeah.
The other thing is that other people haven't figured out yet that Saddleback Lagak is the real deal.
We're seeing the Path Wardens flow through too, though.
Yeah, those are solid too. Yeah, but Lagak really is a step above. I don't think that that's the case. I think that these players know, and it's just the tables broke.
Yeah, there is no more than
favorably.
one other green mage on this table.
Absolutely
Yeah, I
not.
think you stick Flare Drone in your sideboard in case there's a black-red player on your right that hoped he could long wheel it.
Agree. There's nothing else that's going to go in this deck. You're not playing a Warden of Geometries in this build. This is a...
Sky Scourer would go into the black-red deck if there was one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aggressor in case you needed to flesh out your curve.
Yeah, and I know...
Can't imagine he's going to come up short, though, given
No.
how much the green is flowing.
No, totally not. But you know what? I'll tell you what. In case he doesn't have enough threes, those are going to come in handy. He may even run one of them. Ruin in their wake. Or, yeah, he's just going to take a sideboard card, Natural State. All right, so we're winding down the second pack here. And I got to say, things have gone very well for Luis.
Yeah, I mean, give him a grade so far.
I think his deck is probably an A-. I think his drafting
yeah, it's
is
not
an A.
Yeah, I like both
I
those
just think
grades.
he's just smashed this draft so far.
The deck isn't perfect. It doesn't have quite as much removal as the A+ deck would have.
Exactly.
Doesn't have quite as, the bomb rares that an A+ deck would have, but he's drafted. The switch into green was
I mean, the
just
crazy part here
great.
is I might give his deck an A- if he laid it out and built it right now. I mean, like
he's got 23 playables in there,
yeah,
probably?
I think he probably has like 20 or 21, and he'd have to run a couple of those aggressors or something. I mean, and an expedite or something like that.
Right.
This deck is very solid already, and we've got another pack to go. Like he can really fill this thing out and give himself that perfect grade.
We hear our spotter on the floor whispering into our ears, there is one other green drafter at the table.
Okay, yeah, that's what you were speculating. That makes sense to me. Wow. This has been really fun to watch. Fall of the Titans,
Yeah, I mean, if
Nina and Den.
this deck's great.
Yeah.
If those aggressors were Flame Seekers, 3/2 allies rather than 2/3 devoid creatures,
Yeah.
then we'd be up in AA+ territory.
Exactly. Maybe one
Maybe
extra
one
boulder
remove,
salvo. Yeah.
Instead of the third Spark Mage's Gambit. But wow.
But wow.
He's got Nissa's Judgment too. That's
Yes.
his removal.
Yes.
Oh my god.
His deck's very good. All right. Well, let's see if he can finish it out. Now, Luis is in a position of luxury here. He gets to make picks dictated on curve, dictated on what it is that he needs. He doesn't have to take the most powerful card. He can take the card that fits best.
This is not Brood Monitor.
Yeah, I think he's going to take the
Stone
Stone
Fury?
Fury here. Yeah, I feel like he does still feel some pressure to have a way to kill something big, and a Stone Fury does a good job of that. So I think he'll take it here.
I'll buy that. Next time around, by the way, I'm taking Lava Step Raider out of this pack. I'm taking that.
He's
I'm
looking
least
at
giving
Foil
myself-
Desolation Twin, but I'm pretty sure he's just trolling us. Yeah, I knew it. I know this guy, and he's just messing with us.
Your draft's going well when you're at the Pro Tour and you still have mental cycles to troll the coverage team.
Yeah. Oh, he's always got cycles for that. You know how like cows have multiple stomachs? He's got part of his brain that's always reserved for a good troll. Oh, that's
Beast Color
interesting.
Savant.
Beast Color Savant is actually pretty interesting in this deck. That can get you to turn 3 Saddleback Lagak, and it's a body to put those counters on. It's not a great one at a 1/1, but
The pack doesn't have anything, oh my
No.
god, amazing.
no, it doesn't. I like that actually. I think that's going to make the cut in his deck.
Probably. It is an ally. Haste can set up some turn 3s with a couple of 2-drops.
Totally.
Beast Caller into a Surge spell on turn 3.
That's nice.
Free Runner, Salvo.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's really good. And it also just works well on its own on a turn 4 Surge. So if I'm a Luis here, the things I'm thinking about are I'd like 3 drops that are better than the Eldrazi aggressors I've got.
Yeah.
And I would also like another removal spell. And,
Wow.
and then I'm pretty happy.
So it's Call of the Scions. It's a 3-drop that puts 2 bodies into play. It's not as good as Eyeless Watcher in most people's minds, but it curves much
interesting.
better with Saddleback Lagak.
It really does. That's interesting.
Like, the Eyeless Watcher is the one he's got at the front, and I think everyone agrees it's a better card than Call of the Scions, but Call of the Scions is kind of exactly what he wants.
It kind of is.
2 bodies on turn 3?
Yeah, he took it. That's a good read. Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't seen that setup yet. I haven't seen Call of the Science into Saddleback, but that sounds great, especially if you stumble a little or if somebody kills your commando.
Right.
Yeah, I don't expect Luis to go down to Lava Step Raider territory. To Drew Beastmaster, I think that's kind of shrug. Like, he's like, fine. That's not really on plan for him, but hey, it's a 6-drop.
There's a Noyandar in that pack that's floating around, and a Forerunner of Slaughter. I don't think there is a black-red deck. We wouldn't have seen the Flare Drone flow through in pack 2, so that Forerunner is just headed off to somebody's sideboard.
Yeah, sad.
There could be a blue-white player who's going to be very excited about Noyandar, though.
That's true. Yeah, no, blue-white, unfortunately, has taken quite a dive with the new format. He picks up a Cinderglade, probably.
Or a Slide Runner.
Yeah, I think you just take the Cinderglade. I don't know exactly how many 2s he has, but he has all those commandos. Yeah, he's just going to go with the Slide Runner.
No 1s, though, where Cinderglade, as on turn 1, does fix his mana.
Yeah, I mean, Slide Runner's
Can you
fine.
have too many 2s in this format? Is
Probably
it even possible?
not. Not with that many Saddleback. So, yeah, he probably just wants to load up on all 2s and 4s here. God, this deck is good. Another foil island. He's going to take a Looming Spires here. Yeah, it is kind of funny seeing those sweet cards float by like that. But I'll tell you what, you know, I was kidding earlier. Luis, he's all business at the PT. He would never, you know, like, it would have to be 3 cards left and just stone nothing, you know, for him to take a card for the trade binder. Sure. Ondu Champion. That's kind of, you know, kind of shrug. It might be good. It's just his 4-drop slot's already pretty stacked up with the much better Saddleback Lagak, so. There's a Boiling Earth.
Oh, Chasm Guide's great.
And, Chasm Guide.
Chasm Guide is very good.
Yet another 4. He'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you wish it was 4, but Haste is so good with Cohort.
Yeah, he does have quite a few allies, too.
Right. Now does he get to take the Foil Desolation Twin?
Yeah, probably.
Or the Lava Step Raider.
Yeah, I think you take the twin here. I don't know. Like, I could actually envison a scenario possibly
take
where
the Lava
you'd
Step
want
Raider.
it.
He took Lava Step Raider.
Yeah, he took it.
That's what I thought he might take when that pack came back.
He's all business.
Yeah, I mean, I think, another Call of the Scions if he wants one.
And a Stalwart that's going to be a 2/3. He'll take it.
Yeah, it is an ally, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got options at the 3 spot.
Well, he also has the Beast Caller Savant, which I suppose can max out that Stalwart. Okay, well, the Watcher came back anyway. He'll take that over the Belligerent Whiptail.
This Battle for Zendikar pack was not amazing.
It was medium. It was medium. Yeah.
He's got the option of 2 1-drops if he really wants the low curve.
He actually does. I don't think he'll do it. I don't think he's incentivized to, but that is interesting. Like, it is not out of the question to run those.
No, I don't think it is.
It's
not
just with
that
all
much
those
support.
commandos, I just don't think he needs to. Like,
yeah,
he'd rather just be a turn slower and just be that much more resilient to every, combat, everything.
Right. I mean, I like giving yourself that option. Here, you didn't have to invest anything in it, right? You spent like an 11th pick and a 13th pick on it.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Probably doesn't go that way, but
yeah,
it's
he could
worth thinking
sideboard
about.
into it too. I mean,
great point.
Just give yourself options, right?
Yeah, great point.
Wow.
Great
All
deck.
right, so that's going to do it for our first draft there. And,
great deck and even better job drafting.
I'm just going to say AA. Like, I just think he crushed the draft. I think his deck ended up good. We've seen players that we've given an A grade for their draft, like how well did you draft your seat?
Right.
But their deck ended up being a B or a C just because that's how draft goes occasionally. But here, I think he drafted beautifully and he got rewarded for it. So it really came together there for Luis Scott-Vargas. Indeed. Get in the saddle, as they say. He is ready to ride.
Where did he wind up at 4?
Yeah. With the option for 6, I think, or at least 5. Yeah. So, wow, that was some great stuff from Luis and super fun to watch. Now, I know we were also recording Shuhei Nakamura at the table as well. So we're going to get a chance to go over that draft, not here in the booth, but in the studio as well, and see what was going on over in Shuhei's end of the woods there.
Yeah, Shuhei's 2 to Luis's left, I believe.
He was 2 to his left.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so he's probably not in green.
Well,
I would suppose. But there weren't that many players in there.
Yeah, he was a player at this table, therefore he's probably not in green.
Yeah, apparently there was one other. You know, we
Right.
have Rashad down on the feature match area with a headset on, and he can talk to us, and he said, there's one other. Which,
sense.
that's what it felt like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think that felt about right after seeing those late green cards come through. So great stuff. Of course, this is going to lead us into round 1 of the Pro Tour here, where we're going to get started with 3 rounds of draft, and then we're going to be playing some Modern later on in the day today.
I
which,
can't wait for that.
I
That's
know a
gonna
lot
be
of
fun.
people are excited. There's a lot of stuff to shake up there, but I got to see what the pros do with this format, because, of course, we've had a GP already. In fact, we've had 3 GPs that have been played leading up to this event last weekend, and so we got a taste, right? We got a chance to see what high-level players would do with Oath of the Gatewatch and start to kind of settle things down. But, you know,
Right,
there's
so we
always
had-
room.
We had a support deck win, and then a surge deck, and then a surge deck.
Yeah, we
is kind of
had
interesting.
a green-white support deck, not too dissimilar to what Luis just drafted.
Yeah,
but
green white
even
rather than green red,
harder.
but yeah,
Mhm.
saddlebacks are just great cards.
Yeah.
Black white may be the deck everyone thinks is the best, but you can't always get
I
everything.
think that too, yeah.
You take even red green if you get it this way.
All right, well, that will do it for our first draft of the day. Let's head over to Rich Hagen and the news desk.
All right, thanks very much to Marshall and Randy. Luis Scott-Vargas' quest to not commentate on Sunday action at the Pro Tour, it has begun, and it's begun in great fashion. Rarely do we want to not spend time with Luis, but it'd be great to see him playing on Sunday once again. But if he isn't, he will be here as part of your coverage team on Sunday. Good start for him. Saddleback, Legax aplenty, Mina and Den, green-red. Great stuff. So the good news is we are ready to rock and roll with our second feature draft of the morning. 2 seats round to Luis's left was one of the all-time great players from Japan, Shuhei Nakamura. Let's check out his draft right now.